of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on a beautiful Monday afternoon where my tablecloth needs a little straightening out. We're back at a studio that we used to use for a couple of weeks. The Predators have taken over the Ford Ice Center for training camp. This was something Barry Trotz wanted to do. We wish them the very best of luck as they get all of this started. But we got a lot to talk about, some of it right behind me over at Nissan Stadium. Huge win yesterday for the Titans. And with that in mind, given that it's football season, we start every show with Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. So dial her up at 615-969-4350. Let's check in with Terry McCormick from Main Street Media. Terry, good weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Got some relaxation time in, then went to the game yesterday, and Titans managed to come out with a win there in overtime.
Yeah, let's talk about it. First of all, injury situation. Give us whatever you may know.
Well, it doesn't appear that they had very many injuries coming out of the game. They appeared to come out of that pretty healthy. The big issue is Peter Skoronski, who missed the game with a reported appendectomy. Mike Vrabel wouldn't confirm that, but he did say that he had, quote, a procedure. And so he could be on the shelf for a week or two as he recovers there. He said there's a chance that Christian Fulton with a hamstring and Amani Hooker going through the concussion protocol could start practicing and be back on the practice field this week as they get ready for the Cleveland Browns.
Terry, before the Titans got it going, they got booed as bad as I have ever heard at Nissan Stadium, and it appeared that they made a change in their offensive line after, 3 or 4 sacks in like a 3-possession period. Talk about that, if you will.
Yeah, they had started Xavier Newman in place of Skoronski, who was out of the game with that appendectomy. And then after about 3 series and a couple of sacks that he appeared directly responsible for, they plugged in Dylan Radins, former second-round pick, who was in his first game back from the ACL injury that he had at the end of last year. And for the most part, he acquitted himself pretty well. There were some things that obviously some rust and some things that he needed to work on, but did seem to help plug the hole and solidify the situation.
And Terry, their spirits have got to be up. I know, having gone on that long series where the Chargers tied the game at the end of regulation, they were out on the field so long and they looked gassed. And I turned to somebody and said, they have got to win the coin toss and get the ball first. And when they didn't, I was absolutely shocked that they were able to force a 3-and-out.
Yeah, it was interesting. But, to that point, George, I'll say this. It appeared like that even though the overtime was starting and that they had lots of time at their disposal, it almost felt like the Chargers were still in the hurry-up mode. We're still in the 2-minute mode because they came out and threw the ball 3 straight times, never bothered to even, hint at they might run the ball because they, I guess, had moved it so well against, as you said, a Titans defense that looked a little bit gassed there at the end. But they weren't able to connect on anything, and that played right into the Titans' hands because they got a decent punt return from Kearis Jackson, sets them up at the 39-yard line, and then Tannehill leads them right down the field for the game-winning field goal.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty. I'll tell you what was weird. all of a sudden, when the Titans get the ball back, you look to the left and way out toward North Nashville, and you see this big storm coming in. And I turned to somebody and said, it would be so apropos if we ended up with a lightning delay.
Oh, George, don't wish that on us.
No, thank goodness it didn't happen. But it was a weird ending with all of that coming in. It had been bright sunshine 10 minutes earlier, and all of a sudden a little, I don't know, squall line or whatever dumped a bunch of rain, both as the game was ending and then as everybody was getting to the parking lot. It was a weird deal.
Yeah, and Mike Vrabel said he admitted that one of the reasons they kicked on third down was because the rain had slacked up just enough that they felt they could get the kick off and make it. They didn't want to run the risk of trying to kick it in a monsoon that kind of ensued about 2 minutes after the final gun went off.
Yeah. Listen, we'll check in on more developments tomorrow, same time, same place.
All right, sounds good, George.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. Dial her up at 615-969-4350. Let's head to Murfreesboro. Say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
Good, George. How you doing?
Doing good.
Did you get enough football this weekend?
Oh, my God. I overdosed on it.
Really? Me too.
That's not a bad thing. So,
No, it is not.
Where was Troy this weekend?
They were at Troy. They got beat at home, man. I was quite shocked. That's been, we started the season. Troy started the season 1-2 last year, and they're 1-2 again. I told my son, I'm like, James Madison is really good. My college coach used to tell me that. He's like, they've been recruiting Division I players because they were in the FCS level, and then when they wanted to make the jump to FBS, they started recruiting a different caliber kid, and they're pretty good. They hustle to the ball. I don't know if they're as good as Troy, but they beat us the other day. So, hey, we'll see.
They had a last-minute drive at Virginia that pulled that game out of the fire. James Madison undefeated?
I think so, George. I think they are undefeated. Yeah, they're a good team, man. They got some guys that are undersized. They've got a big defensive lineman that's really good. They got one guy that's a white dude. He's kind of short and stocky, but there was a number 10 on the defensive end, and he was just wearing the right tackle out. He couldn't block him, and then we finally had to start chipping and doing some things like that. But one of those ones that got away from him, that's for sure.
Yeah. Billy,
George,
are you still in mourning?
Oh man, it was Kelly texted me like right after Father Ryan NBA game ended, and I had to respond back with no, they lost. It was brutal.
It was.
I was a little worried about you, Billy. I thought you were going to be on suicide watch. Also,
it was tough because the Father Ryan faithful thought they had it. It felt like one of those the year that it could be broken, but it wasn't their night. And Kelly said the Big Red got him again, and a lot of it's like Tennessee, Florida. The better team lost a lot, probably because the mental side effects of a streak. And that I told Kelly streaks can be strong in sports. It's crazy.
Well, it was a terrific environment. They probably had 5,000 people, a lot of them, ringing the field, not just in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great atmosphere.
It was.
And a great weather night. And by the way, our thanks to the folks at Father Ryan for their hospitality. This show that we did on Friday attracted over 3,000 viewers on Twitter alone. And that's pretty doggone good. We owe you a thank you for that. Mm-hmm. So thanks for the support.
Yeah, and not only Father Ryan fans disappointed, Tennessee and Vandy fans were disappointed. It was a tough weekend.
We're going to get into all that later
in the Mid-State. But there was the late game on Saturday. Of course, Colorado State looked like it might end up in an all-out UFC brawl. I don't know if y'all stayed up for that. I stayed up for the whole thing.
Oh.
I was so tired, but I could not take my eyes off
for a
of
lot of it. I'll say this. I don't know. It's been a while since I have seen a game where there was that much venom going into it. I mean,
It
I
was
would
bad.
hate to have been the officiating crew trying to get those two sides under control
Yeah.
because that was nasty.
Yeah, it all started with the hit on Travis Hunter, and he's actually going to be out a few weeks after taking that hit. And they've got it's in the middle of their biggest games. They got Oregon this weekend. I think they got USC as well coming up. So it looks like they won't have Hunter for those games, which is brutal for them. And I thought that was a dirty hit too.
They get to it was, and
how was nothing called after? I mean, nothing.
I don't know. I'll say this. I guess not living out there, you probably can't fully realize how much those two schools hate each other. It's always been an intense rivalry, but I've never seen anything like that. My Lord.
And they were headhunting Colorado.
Woo.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know why more wasn't called in that game. There was a lot of just let them play.
You could have had a lot of this going on.
Oh, yeah.
Did y'all think that was an illegal hit? Did you?
I
didn't like it?
The ball was on the ground, and he had to have seen. It's not like he thought he had the ball. The ball dropped right in front of him. And the play, I don't know if it was technically dead yet, but I don't know. I mean, traditionalists probably think it wasn't dirty, but I don't know. I didn't like.
There was a lot of dirty in that game.
Yeah, on both sides.
There were not good intentions by anybody.
No, there wasn't, and there didn't seem to be good intentions with Alabama's plans at quarterback on Saturday. No. They end up beating USF 17-3, but after trying out the other two guys, they've decided to go with Jalen Milroe against Ole Miss on Saturday. So it looks like they just sort of tried him out, and they said, all right, screw it.
We'll get into that during the 3 o'clock hour. Got a lot of college football stuff to get into. I will say this. I am hearing in the rumor mill, and I don't think this is a hard one, even if you wanted to make it up, that Ty Simpson is going to transfer at the end of the year. Whether it turns out this way or not, the school that I was told about is Oregon, where Bo Nix is, but Bo Nix will be gone. Bo Nix in his 24th year of college football.
Seriously. Seems like he's been there forever.
He's gotten an AARP card since he's been there. Anyway.
We got a lot of college football to get to, but a couple of game times announced for next weekend. Tennessee and South Carolina at 6:30 Central Time on the SEC Network at Neyland Stadium. And then Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
Vandy, Missouri.
Or Vandy, Missouri. Vandy, Kentucky is this weekend, but Vandy, Missouri announced for 3 o'clock on Saturday. And we got a couple of lines. Kentucky is a 14.5-point favorite over Vandy. And then Tennessee is a 19.5-point favorite over UTSA. UTSA, a team that lost their quarterback and lost to Army last week, this weekend. So
don't screw with the militaries.
No, an Army. I mean, I don't know much about Army, but we thought that was going to be a challenge for Tennessee.
They don't just do this anymore.
I know. That's what I was going to say. They throw the ball some. Yeah. Absolutely, they do.
Weird watching that.
Yeah.
So we'll save a lot of the college football, but there was a breaking news on the ticker yesterday. I think Tampa Bay Rays are expecting to make a major announcement tomorrow regarding completion of a deal to build a new stadium in downtown St. Petersburg. And it looks a lot like, Truist Park, where they've built a battery around it, and they've got, basically a new little town pretty much. And it's in St. Petersburg, but it'll be an 86-acre, the redevelopment 86-acre historic gas plant district, and open for the 2028 season. So,
if that's true, then Major League Baseball would appear to have gotten their two problem children solved, Oakland and Tampa. And now, based on what the commissioner said a couple of years ago, now they're ready to rock and roll. So I wonder, the winter meetings will be here in a couple of months in Nashville, if indeed they're going to turn to city leadership and say, okay, let's just lay it out there. You're number one on our list, because I'm telling you, every major league person that knows something is telling me that Nashville is number one on MLB's expansion list, not just in a group of them, but has risen to number one. We'll see.
It'll be an interesting question for Danny to see what this changes, at least in Nashville. But wanted to get that out. It'll be official tomorrow. So we'll see about that. But that's all I got, George. We got a lot of other football to get into, though.
Oh, we do. And we'll start with the Titans, and we'll start after the break as Watson Brown joins us. He and Kelly will analyze a huge win, a game that it felt like the Titans absolutely had to win, and they got it by a razor's edge in a terrific NFL game. Stay tuned. This is the George Plaster Show. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Okay, Watson Brown joins us from Cookeville with his weekly Titans analysis. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm great. You guys good today?
We're good. We're good.
Good.
Let's start. Let me kind of set the scene on this. San Diego, good Lord. The Chargers led. I know, I still say it. The Chargers led 11-0. The Titans had just gotten booed like I have never heard when the offense left on what was either their second or third possession. They'd had like 3 quarterback sacks of Tannehill, and they come out down 11-0, and Traylon Burks blows by a Charger defender. You're going to see the play here in just a second. Watch this rainbow that falls right where it needed to. Watson, from that moment on, it looked like a totally different offense. Why?
Well, the first thing everybody will say was that Ryan played a lot better. But I say the reason he played a lot better was the play calling. You look at his 24 throws in the game, he threw to a second receiver, I think, once, maybe twice, but it was always his primary target. And a lot more of those throws were either play action passes, even play action passes, kind of a lot of guys are doing now this semi boot thing and then kind of throw back to the other side or sprint out. And it's what he does best. They gave him his type throws. When he puts his eyes on a target and it's open, and a lot of these throws were open, and play action passes will create that, or at least what is called in the NFL open, it's one-on-one. It's a one-on-one throw. He is very accurate. He is just not real good at second and third guys. Even some of the sacks, I still thought early in the game he held them too long. There was a screen where he just all quarterbacks understand screen not there, throw it in the ground. You don't scramble with a screen. You can't throw it downfield. That's a penalty. You just take a screen, and you're taught that in junior high when you throw screens. And but the play calling I thought was as good as I've seen it in 5-6 years. I thought keeping the run pass possibilities, doing so much more off of Derrick Henry and not as much off of drop back stuff was the difference in the game. And I thought Coach Kelly got better as the game went on, but he gave Ryan things that he can do, and he did them very, very well. And he is one of the toughest nuts I have ever seen. He takes more shots and gets up and never complains and goes again. A lot of those really good completions, he got nailed after he threw the ball. And you don't see that as much because they're following the ball to the receiver. But he is tougher nails. He is very accurate when he's in rhythm. Very accurate. He is very accurate on the move. He's just not as good when you got to slide slightly or hop a little bit and get to the second and third guys. But I thought the difference in the game was the play calling on offense.
Kelly, your thoughts?
I just think that everything runs through Derrick Henry, and when he's the motivating factor and all that, then that's when the offense goes. I mean, that's kind of like the games that Mike Vrabel wants. I mean, they're nail biters. There's a lot of games in the National Football League are nail biters, but that seems like the game that he wants. You know, it's close. I agree with Coach. The play calling was different, but I just think everything's got to run through Derrick Henry, and the first game just didn't seem that way, George. It really didn't. I thought Ryan Tannehill did such a much better job of the first week. We obviously know that he turned the ball over 3 times, but he was like 83.3% completion in that game. Guys were open. He was hitting those guys. He made a huge play in the overtime when he hit DeAndre Hopkins on that big play where they got a first down, I believe. So that was a huge play in the game, and he made the plays when he had to, George. That's the difference of winning and losing in the National Football League.
Watson, I cannot remember, as we watch the second of these bombs, I can't remember a time where the Titans have gotten 2 bombs in a game. Give me some thoughts on that. Is this now the start of more long ball offense? What do you think?
No, just keep doing things off of the play action. And anytime you put the ball in 22's belly, or at least get it close to his belly, it freezes everything. You're going to crowd the line of scrimmage because of number 22. And so you're catching one-on-ones. And again, Ryan is very accurate when he's in rhythm, and it's a rhythm throw and his guy's open. He's very accurate. He is a much better deep ball thrower than he is a high-low thrower. And Kelly brought up the play to Hopkins. What was that? It was a kind of an unbalanced line overshift, sprint out pass where they take the outside guy and run a little quick out. It's just a high-low principle, but it was off a sprint out. And it was a deep cut at about 16 to 18 yards by the inside receiver, which was Hopkins. And Ryan's right on the money. But that's what he does very, very well. So don't forget what you did and keep doing that, and keep Derrick Henry as your focus, because I don't think they're good enough to do anything else. They're not drop back passers. We haven't been in 5 years. I mean, we're not drop back protectors. Haven't been in 5 years. That's not what they do best. Run the stretch play, a little bit of counter here or there, something like that, but keep giving it to 22. It's amazing to me. He's not getting downhill as much as he used to. He's getting hit at the line of scrimmage, closer to the line of scrimmage, but he falls for 4. That big old long body, I mean, he just falls for 4, and it's 2nd and 5. And that's the way they got to play. I don't care if they're down 14-0 in the third quarter. I don't leave it till I absolutely have to, because I'm not sure anything they can go to will work better than what they got.
Kelly, my biggest worry leaving is in the offensive line. Tannehill is taking some brutal shots.
Yes.
And I don't see any quarterback able to take that 17 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's tough. And Coach just talked about it, how tough Ryan Tannehill. I was kind of like that too. I was kind of stupid with it. I didn't move. I just sat in there and I took a lot of shots. He's like a pinball sometimes, man. He was getting hit hard. But I just like to go back to what Coach was talking about, what you were talking about, George. Each week presents a different challenge. So next week they might not be able to go down the field like they did this past game, because they might not have. It's all about matchups in the National Football League, and Coach knows that. Same thing in college. But sometimes you have matchups with some of your wide receivers on those corners, and you want to take some shots. Where, other times when you're playing like the Dallas Cowboys or the New York Jets, where they've got guys outside and inside, so it's harder to get the ball downfield. Each team presents a different problem, George, and they were able to kind of take advantage of that yesterday with some of their guys getting behind the defense. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill, he's getting older. They've got to figure out something with the O-line. It's too bad that Peter Skoronski, I don't know what's going on with him. I know that when I was in Indianapolis, I told this story a couple months ago, but we were in Philadelphia back in the old Vet Stadium, and our right tackle, Steve McKinney, woke up. He had an emergency appendectomy, and he did not play that game. And then that's when another guy came in and played really well. And, you just got to be able to step up. But it's too bad that he got hurt or whatever happened to him. But, the guy that came in for him, I don't think did very well. And then they put somebody else in. He did a pretty adequate job. So they've got to fix that line. They've got to give him a little bit more time, but I'm going to go back to what I said and what Coach just said. Everything runs through 22, and Tom Moore used to talk all the time to us about Edgerrin James. He would have 40 yards going in the fourth quarter, and by the end of the game, he'd have 115 yards. So you just got to stick with it, and that's what they built this deal around. They built it around Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the National Football League, and you've got to go off him. He's got to get the touches. He's got to stick that ball in there and have play action passes, because I think that's what Ryan Tannehill does best, just like Coach said.
Watson, I was really proud of the defensive effort. First of all, Justin Herbert is a stud. We all know that. I came away believing that they were out of gas going into overtime and was shocked when they were able to force a 3-and-out. Watson, talk to me about what you saw from their defense yesterday.
Better. It's the team now. You know what the team is now. Your weakness on offense, the receiver thing has been fixed. We're much better there. the weakness, the thing we got to watch that I think still a C right now is the offensive line. The C on the defense is the secondary. And that defensive front has to dominate. They've got to get to the quarterback, and I don't mean sack him. I just mean be in his face. When quarterbacks get to set on us, we're in trouble. But that's pretty much the NFL anyway. I think we're a much better team, and we got a shot. George, I'm going to get on the coaching of the Chargers a little bit. And those last three plays when they didn't score before the end of the game, I thought the play calling got a little rough. And then the passes they called, the three passes they called
in overtime,
it was awful. And the third one, nobody knew what to do. You got a wide angle of the third down play, and two of them went out and looked around. They didn't know what the play was. I mean, it just so disorganized. And but the Titans, to me, what they got to do, if the Titan offense has got to understand, they're always within the chains if they don't get penalties, because Derek's going to gain 3 or 4. They're always within the chain. When they get in trouble is when they get behind the chains. A lot of teams that way. I think the Titans are worse. Ryan is not a great drop back thrower, and they're not very good drop back protectors. They have got to stop holding and illegal procedures, understand how important it is for them not to do that, and just stay within those chains, and Ryan can make those throws. 3rd and 5, second and 8, 2nd and 4. Keep it within the chains, and they're going to have a shot. With that defensive front the way it is, and a secondary that I think can get better, they're better than last year already, they're going to have a shot, but stay within those chains.
This is the touchdown that ultimately gives the Titans the lead. I want to say at 27-24. I hope I'm right about that.
Is it the option play that he ran? The zone option play he ran and scored that Tannehill ran? Was that it?
No, the pass. What you're looking at? The pass to the last touchdown they scored. It was the pass to Westbrook in the end zone.
That very well could have been an RPO. I think it was play action pass.
Hey,
and they just hit a little quick skinny post in there.
Watson, you brought it up, the run on the option.
Use
Chargers
him more. Use his legs.
Yeah.
His legs. He can still run. The guy can still run at 35, 36 years old. Use him.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Well, he went to college as a wide receiver, so the guy can run. That was kind of amazing to me, though. They had both those guys in the backfield, and that was a really good play design. He had Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry had his option length with the pitch. He was waiting on the pitch, and that was a good play by Ryan Tannehill. But he can run. He's still an athletic guy. And you saw what happened on that touchdown pass, George. What did it start with? It started with him sticking the ball in Derrick Henry's stomach. So when you do that, I mean, you're going to get those linebackers to bite up and then sneak somebody out because they're so worried about Derrick Henry. They know, hey, if we don't stop him, we're in trouble. So everything still goes through number 22.
Watson, help me with this. The Titans go to Cleveland next week, and Cleveland has Pittsburgh tonight on national TV. Because it's so early in the season, will a head coach basically say to each of his assistants, okay, here's what I want you watching tonight? Because you've only got one game of 2023 film on the Browns. How will that work tonight?
Oh, they'll watch it maybe, but they get it so quick after the game that they're going to. That really, you can't. The way a coach looks at it, you can't watch television and do it, George. There's so many breakdowns of things they look at, and so I don't think that'll be big, even though I say they will be watching it.
Kelly, will the players be watching?
Oh, yeah, the players are going to watch it. But just like Coach said, there's not enough angles. That's why they have those. Everything's instant now with all this stuff, and they can get it. But you don't get the angles that you get when you're getting film. They're going to cut the film up. They're going to see third downs and all that. They're probably, they've already watched the other game that they had the week before. But I will say this: don't sleep on the Browns. My old team's pretty good. They've got some good young talent. Deshaun Watson's he looks like, but kind of been their Achilles heel has been the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were able to get Pittsburgh a couple of times a couple of years ago, but the Pittsburgh Steelers have always been their bugaboo. So it'll be interesting to see how they play tonight. But the Browns are, I'm looking for good things for the Browns this year. I really am, because they got a really good young cast of characters.
Last thing for both. Go ahead, Watson.
One thing I say about the Browns, they can rush the passer.
Yeah,
they can rush the passer. They do not. We just talked about they better do in that game, or it could get embarrassing, or we could hurt our quarterback.
Watson, let me ask both of you this: when your pro football team loses, the fan reaction is the sky is falling. When your team wins, we're headed to the Super Bowl. For you, what's the real take now, 2 games in for both of you, of what is fair to expect out of this team?
I think this team is better than last year. The secondary is better. The receiving core is much better. The offensive line is about what it was last year. I think if they can stay healthy, they'll be around. And I still don't think the division is. The Colts are playing good, but I don't think that they'll beat us. The Texans are still poor, and the Jags still had trouble last night offensively. So I think it's going to be a 2-team race to see who wins the division. I think the Titans will be one of the 2.
Kelly?
I do too. I'm totally in agreement with that. But we all know stuff starts up front, and they got to fix that O-line. They really do. I'm excited to see what they've done, because they can get pressure on the passer now with those guys up front. Their front four is pretty good, and it seems like that's going on throughout the league. You got the San Francisco 49ers, who've been good. Then you got the Jets. You got you got the Cleveland Browns coming on. You got the Dallas Cowboys, what they're doing on defense. I'm glad I'm sitting at home watching these games on TV, and I don't have to deal with that, because those defenses are really good. And I think the Titans, they've upgraded on defense. They really have. They've, a good defensive line that can get pressure on a passer. You don't have to be great in the secondary. If they can rush the passer and make him move a little bit, you don't have to be overly great in the secondary. But offensive line wise is a thing that's the key for me. They've got to get better with that, George. But you look at what Coach just said about the division. I don't see there's not any big game changers there. I mean, Indianapolis looks like they're better, but C.J. Stroud and the Texans are not very good. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, they had a great year last year, but can they do it for the second year? So I don't know.
Yeah. So let me ask this, because you used a couple of words, Kelly, that had all the bells in my head going off. Need to fix the offensive line. Okay, we all know that.
Yeah.
But truly, given what is on campus, is it fixable?
I don't know. I mean, you can do things with play calling, like Coach is talking about. You can get the ball, like if you are going to throw a drop back pass, get the ball out of Ryan Tannehill's hands. But they're better run blockers than they are pass blockers. You can tell that. But they at some point they're going to have to do that. So yeah, I think it's fixable, George. You just got to keep working, but you got to have continuity on the O-line. And with Skoronski going out, that kind of puts that on hold a little bit, because now you got fill-ins there. So that's the thing that everybody's looking for, is continuity on the offensive and defensive lines. And defensive lines change out, but like, you want 5 guys that are very durable, that are going to be there week in and week out. That's hard to do, but they've got to find that continuity. And with that, you can't have injuries.
Watson, they get Petit Friere, if I've said that right, back in about a month. Do you think this is fixable?
Yeah, because I've always said you can't beat your opponent till you don't beat yourself. And right now, just stop the penalties alone and get a hat on somebody, and that big guy in the back falls for 5, and just understand, stay within those chains. I keep bringing that up because that's their only chance. George, when they were really good and we were the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, what did we do that year? That's what we did. And that is Mike Vrabel's style. I don't think it'll ever change. I think if when Derrick Henry's gone, he'll still be wanting to play this style of football and accept what he wants to do and get better at it. And yes, I think they can play better. They're never going to be the best line in the AFC. Nope, not going to happen this year, but they can play better than they're playing. And just some slight improvements to where you don't hurt Derrick Henry and you don't hurt Ryan Tannehill. Those 2 guys have got to be playing at the end of the year for the Titans to win the division.
Watson, thank you. Good talking to you as always. We'll do it again here soon.
Okay. Talk. See you guys.
Okay. Watson Brown with his Titans analysis and a little bit of help from Kelly Holcomb as well. After the break, we will hear from Coach Mike Vrabel, his thoughts on the victory over the Chargers. Then at 3 o'clock, we're going to get into Tennessee and Vanderbilt, what you could refer to as Black Saturday. Then after that, we'll get into Alabama and we'll get into Colorado because Deion is the talk everywhere you turn. Stick around. We got plenty more coming.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Well, I think most of you have seen the stats of what happens if you go 0 for 2 to start the season in the NFL. I think it's only been 3 teams that have ever reached the Super Bowl after having started 0 and 2. So, whatever the case, yesterday was a big win for the Titans over the Chargers. And let's listen in and hear a little bit of Coach Mike Vrabel.
Well, it was critical. I mean, a lot of plays in the game comes down to a few, and certainly that was a big one. And we talked about the key all week was getting the drive stopped. And sometimes we got it stopped sooner, sometimes we got it stopped later. And in that case, it was one of those that got stopped later, but in the end, it got stopped.
Just to stay in the fight and have a chance to win.
Well, that's what it's about. These games are tight every week. You know, they played in a close one last week. We played in a close one, and you know, you got to just stay in there. You got to keep fighting, take care of the football, execute a couple critical plays. You know, I thought that there at the end, you know, just being able to roll out and find Hop to give us the yardage that we needed, you know, with the rain coming.
So we're able to do it overall perfectly, but how good to be able to do it without turnovers today?
Well, we didn't turn them over, I don't think, on the other side, so that made it nice. We got to keep going for the ball. We got to get it out of the quarterback's hand. And a couple opportunities in the secondary, and we have to take advantage of those opportunities.
What do you think of the way Ryan responded to last week?
And that's what Ryan's done. You know, one of the tougher players on our team. I know we got a bunch of tough guys, but he stood in there and got knocked out of him a couple times late, and I respect the heck out of it and kept battling, hit some shots, which was great to see down the field.
You talk about being like this for kicks like that. I mean, you have any doubt at all he'd make it?
I mean, he's been really good. I mean, that's what he's done, and that's what you need in this league is a guy that's reliable in the critical situations.
About your head as the rain came down right as you guys are setting up the game.
Just is it going to stop? Is it going to slow down? We got a couple downs to play with. It's like, how much harder is it going to rain? You know, is it going to stop? One of those that stops in a minute, and we need to run another play, or is it just like, let's put a foot on this thing?
How was it for Dylan Radins to be able to come in and give you as many snaps as he did, filling in at left guard?
Well, it was certainly a quick turnaround from when he was hurt. And again, all the credit goes to Dylan to be able to do that and get back. And, you know, having worked at tackle and guard and, you know, just felt like, you know, early on, we put him in there and, you know, was able to stay alive. And I'm sure that there was going to be some mistakes, but, you know, great to see him back out there. It's a phenomenal turnaround.
So you're just having trouble with the games and the blitzes?
Well, I just wanted to see what it looked like with Dylan. You know, we had two guys there that hadn't been working in there, and you know, give Dylan a shot and you know, go from there.
Secondary playmaking that first overtime series, it looked like.
Well, it was, you know, we were playing some zone and it hit a couple seams on us, like what Shane did. You know, changed up some things and got on body and guys responded. And, you know, it was just good to see us stay tight in coverage and challenge. And, you know, early on, it's like some of the calls and, you know, they're throwing it in front of us and, you know, just, you know, making sure that, you know, we're not getting the ball thrown over our head. And then it was great to be able to challenge there in overtime. Three fantastic plays executed well by the defense. Jeff had good pressure. He slipped, you know, or that ball probably would have been out, but it was good to see really tight coverage.
Spark was that Burks play.
Red zone, a lot different from last week.
Well, every week is different. You guys hear me say that all the time. Every week is different. We were able to get stops on defense this week. We were able to double them up at halftime. with the field goal and then scoring a touchdown and putting a drive together. And you could just see the difference in our efficiency when it's, instead of, 3rd and 10, we're able to function at a better down and distance. And, there were times that we had gained 5 yards and ahead of schedule, silly penalty, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10. So you guys can see it as well as we can when we get into drives and we're able to, let those plays complement each other. That's when we can be effective and then get down in the red zone, hit a shot. Everybody, went on the ball from the 5 and was able to score 2 plays later.
What did the Burks play do for you guys? Maybe the energy on the sideline, energy in the stadium. Did you feel that?
Well, yes. I mean, it was critical. And, we need that from Traylon. Being able to run through the catch there was fantastic. Got over the top, protection held up. Ryan gave him a fantastic ball. But, I'm with you, Joe. We were leaking oil, and we needed somebody to step up and make a play, and that was a huge play.
I give Derek a lot of credit for a lot of things, but he seemed like he did a heck of a job tonight in pass protection too.
Well, we expect a lot out of him. We throw him the football. We try to get it to him different ways. And sometimes, again, with the team that came in blitzing as much as they did and figuring that they were going to blitz, the backs are going to have to, be good in protection. Yeah, I mean, those are things that we always try to get. And a lot of that is dictated on whether we can hold up. And, they play some post safety and they get on you. And, we liked – Chris had a great week of practice. Traylon continued to get better throughout the week and some of the details. And so those are really cool to see when it translates into the football game.
Last year had nothing to do with this year, but how good to get the win and fill it back and hope that.
Well, it's important. It's important to get off to a good start, and again, tight games at home. We needed it. We all needed it. And, but we can be able to learn from it and see when we do the things that we talk about in practice and the execution, what it looks like.
Kelly, they did need it. I was thinking back. Now, I don't have this in front of me. Was their last regular season win the Thursday night game at Green Bay?
It was, yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, I was reading that today. It was a Green Bay, so that's a long time to go winless, and that was huge to get that off their back to win a game, especially in front of your home crowd. And you just talked about it. 0-2. 0-2 is like dismal for most teams in national football. You're going nowhere. There's not many 0-2 teams that make the playoffs either, George, especially to go on to the Super Bowl like you talked about. And I don't know. Right. You said 3 teams. I don't know who they would be, but I know that it's hard when you're 0-2 to go to the playoffs.
But one of them is the year Emmitt Smith held out and beat Jerry Jones in a contract negotiation. Forced the issue when they started 0-2 and Jerry caved. That's one of the 3 that also, I think I've seen.
2001 when the Patriots won the Super Bowl over the Rams. And
they were 0-2. Okay,
yeah,
they started
0-2. And then the Giants in 2007 when they beat the Patriots, they started that season 0-2.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. That's hard to do, George. When you're 0-2, there's not good things coming, and you normally don't think you're going to win the Super Bowl after being 0-2.
Why is it? I mean, I know it's 0-2, and a lot of the locker room mood is probably bad, but why is it so tough?
Ooh. It's uphill.
It's Billy. It's tough to win a football game in the National Football League. Let alone going down 0-2, and then everybody in the locker room, players talk. We're all talking in there, and they're just like, man, we suck. We're not very good. Sometimes they just kind of tank it, which I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but sometimes that does happen, especially if you had a bad season the year before and you started 0-2. Man, I've been there. That's not a good situation to be in.
Okay, stat of the day, and then a lot of talk about Tennessee and Vanderbilt coming up. Do not go away.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. You know, it has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you, and if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Reaction Monday. We've got a lot of college football to react to. We've saved it for this whole hour, so buckle up for that. But first, Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville, Tennessee. All right, let's check out what we've got for Stat of the Day. Ronald Acuna Jr. currently has 66 stolen bases this season. Who was the last player to steal 70 bases in a single season? We'll see if Acuna can get there.
Oh, Lord.
Good luck, George.
Yeah.
That's how you know Kelly's out of it.
Yeah, but
out of it, man.
I'm not much better.
This is so broad. I mean,
did you come up with this? Whose was this, Billy?
This is intern Matthew. He's done a good job with these stats.
Oh, tell him to go. Tell him to go play in the street about 5 o'clock.
Wow. Without a stoplight.
Exactly.
Oh my.
Ricky says Ricky Henderson.
I mean, that's the only guy I think of, or Otis Nixon or somebody like that. I don't know.
It shouldn't be going back that far.
Probably not.
Let's just see what it is.
Okay. Oh no! Did I not put the answer graphic? Is not in there.
Oh wow, Billy, that's shocking. That's $100 fine. You know, $100 fine, dude. What are we
you
doing?
Brought us to the trough, and when we turned on the wheel, there was no water.
Administrative error.
Oh
But
my goodness!
I've got the answer.
Oh, I don't want to hear the answer. What is it?
Jacoby Ellsbury in 2009.
Oh my God! Are you serious? Let me say this about old Jacoby Ellsbury. We could have been here till midnight, and we would never have gotten it.
Oh
Could have
man,
been here for 5 years
Lord.
and would have never got that. Good gracious.
So let's give some better answers. Vince
Hey,
Coleman.
tell Matthew to grow up.
Wow. A
Hey,
little
good
bitter, are we?
gracious, dude. What are we doing?
Okay. Are we now ready to get into Black Saturday?
Yes, sorrowful Saturday.
So let's start with Tennessee because I'm watching both the Tennessee and the Vanderbilt games at the same time. And I go in believing that Tennessee just simply is better than Florida. They have a nice drive to start 7-0. And at that point, they needed to turn to the refs and say, we've got some administrative duties. We need
Gotta
to go
go.
home. From that point on, they got the crap kicked out of them. They really were not very competitive. I was shocked.
Yeah, that
George, the thing that really got me is the tackling on defense. We talked about the defense for a while and how they've gotten much better. Their speed is kind of up with the offense, and you watch the ETN guy go through the hole and all those tackles that were missed, and then the safety number 5, I don't know his name, but he came up and didn't even wrap up. He just tried to hit him, and all
Tried
these
to give
guys
him the
nowadays.
shoulder
Yeah, he
thing.
tried to give him the old chicken wing, and that's not gonna happen when you got a back like a Trevor Etienne, like his brother in Jacksonville. They're stocky, they're thick leg. They're not going to go down. You've got to wrap up. And that's what I always used to say about the Alabama defense. The Alabama defense used to always be really good, and now it's gone to Georgia. They're really good at one-on-one tackling. They wrap up, they grab people, and you just cannot have that. He got through the line, he broke some tackles, and then the safety's the last line of defense. You got to make that tackle whether you get run over or not. And he just didn't even give a good college effort. So
Yeah.
you got to commend what Florida did. Florida held the ball. I mean, they held it for like 34 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do against a Tennessee team that likes to go fast. Well, you keep them on the sideline, you keep your offense, and you just barrel it down their throat. And that's exactly what they did. Graham Mertz had some good plays, and he had some third downs where the pocket kind of broke down on him. He was able to get out of the pocket and make some plays and extend drives. And that's really how they got beat.
I didn't think I'd be saying this, but I think Billy Napier thoroughly outcoached Josh Heupel on Saturday night. Now, I heard this saying, somebody told me Josh was playing with a broken joystick, right? He's playing with a quarterback that is nowhere near as good as Hendon Hooker was at running this offense. The offensive line is depleted and, quite frankly, not very good. And you saw the tackling issues, Kelly. But offensively, Josh Heupel has probably almost had a brain conundrum about what do I do? Like, how do I do what I want to do with this offense? And he's looking out there. The line can't protect this quarterback. He's got 3 good running backs, but this offense it's a pass heavy offense. Obviously you set up the run with the pass, but I just thought Heupel looked over there and he didn't really. He
looked a little lost.
Yeah, he looked a little lost, and I thought that was a big takeaway.
One thing I'm noticing, Kelly, as they try to figure out a different way to skin the cat than a year ago, because look, they don't have the wide receivers that they had a year ago.
No, right.
That's one factor. I don't think that that Joe Milton is Hendon Hooker, but in fairness to Joe Milton, I don't think much of anybody would be. It's probably an unfair comparison, but they are throwing a ton of these wide receiver screens, where the quarterback just catches, throws.
Yeah.
And that seems to be right now. They must have thrown 15 of those in Gainesville.
We got Chris here. He said you should see the stories come out of Knoxville over the past 48 hours. They have some huge issues going on.
Well, I don't know. It's just he's not Hendon Hooker. We know that. I didn't think he played bad the other day. They just didn't have the ball, George. I mean, when he was out there, I mean, there were, now the interception that he had, you can't do that. I mean, he was trying to throw the ball downfield. Now, if you look at the ball that he was going to throw, there were 2 guys on his receiver, and then he gets hit and he tries to use his cannon of an arm to throw it. You just can't do that. You got to hold on to the ball. You got to throw it away if you can.
He threw a pop up.
Yeah, he threw a pop-up. You can't do that. But that didn't lose the game for him. I mean, defensively is what lost the game for him. They couldn't
Right.
get off the field on third down. When you can't do that, you're not going to win a lot of games. And when you're not tackling well, and when you're letting the guy just go right through the defense, and then you've got second and third level guys not making the tackle, which they've got to make that tackle, you're not going to win very many games. But Billy's got a point. He probably did get outcoached the other night. We've all said it before. This dude's a really good coach. He's in the hot seat in Florida because you got to win games down there in the swamp, and that was a huge that relieved him quite a bit, George, to get a lot of the heat off him.
Time.
There's no question about that, and I think the guy's a really good coach. I think he can get it done. He just needs more time, and with wins like that. But I think it showed a lot of the weaknesses. It's got to be good up front. We're talking about that with the Titans. They've got to be good up front, and if they're not able to run the ball, they're not able to throw the ball great. You're not going to win very many games. But I'm thinking that Josh Heupel's over there. He's scratching his head trying to figure out what Joe Milton can and can't complete. There's some things that he can do good that he can't do great in other things. I can remember when Bruce Arians would ask us every day, and he was the only coach I ever had this, but when we had the game plan, he would say, hey, I want to know what you like and what you dislike. It's not going to hurt my feelings if I like something, but you don't like it. If you're the one out there playing. If you don't like it, it's not going to work. That's right. So I think they're trying to figure out what he can do. But I don't think he played bad the other night. He just didn't have the ball, George.
Yeah. No, this is a team loss. There's no doubt about it. They got beat in every way you can get beat. The question is, can they get back off the mat by the time they get to Alabama the third week of October and not get the crap kicked out of them the way they did a couple of nights ago?
Well, George, the guys that they lost going to the NFL are pretty good players.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost two offensive linemen, one drafted in the first round, the other one was a free agent, but still he went. And then you got Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt, who Jalen Hyatt was unbelievably fast. Take the top off the defense, and he, him and Hendon Hooker were kind of magical last year. And then Cedric Tillman's kind of possession guy, but they don't have those guys this year. It's different. It's going to be different every year, but I don't think they've got the playmakers they had. They definitely don't have the quarterback that they had last year. And, it's all showing. But, hey, that's why each week you got to try to get better. You got to put that in behind. You got to learn from your mistakes and try to get better.
Now on to Vandy, which simply is some of the dumbest football that I have ever seen. You throw into 60 minutes the amount of mental screw-ups that went on in that game. Something's got to give. And I know that when they got home, there had to be a come to Jesus about what is going on right now with them. First of all, really good start to go up 17-0. Played very good football. And then gave it back in a collection of screw-ups that look like romper room. Billy, help me with this. You got a snap from a long snapper trying to get the ball to a punter that doesn't get there, correct?
Yep. That was the first. I mean, well, there were many blunders, but that was a big one in that first half that let UNLV tie it up. I'm pretty sure after that. And then, you also had
the reverse.
Yeah, the reverse was in the gun. The bomb, of course. And I'll show that
in a minute. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So through a series of just ridiculous football, they fall 2 touchdowns behind in the second half. They can't run against UNLV a lick, and that is a huge problem they've got. Against decent competition, they can't run for squat.
That's
They
probably
got no running game.
That's the biggest problem, I think.
Hey guys, how did AJ Swan play? He looked like he did okay. I mean, I don't.
He has moments that are really good, and then there'll be a play where you're like, what is he thinking?
It's like what they say about your wife, Kelly. You can't live with him, but you can't live without him. Right.
Wow.
That's
you saved that one up.
Yeah, wow.
Not specifically Kelly's wife, but a lot of guys. That's a big thing.
I'm gonna tell her, Billy. I'm gonna tell her what you said.
No, it's just he makes plays, Kelly, where you go, wow, like he's keeping us in the game. Then you also see him turn the ball over. He had a bad interception again, and there's certain reads and checks that you just feel like he's not up to speed with yet. But at the same time, he's the only option, right? He's the guy that you have to put out there, because you saw what happened when Ken Seals came in. It was not pretty.
Yeah, and in fairness to Seals, the guy hadn't played in 2 years.
Right.
So, okay. So they fall 2 touchdowns behind, and in the fourth quarter, they're able to mount an offensive charge with Swan and with London Humphreys, who, in my mind, is their brightest spot of this year so far. So they tie the game, and with about 2 minutes left, UNLV's backup quarterback throws an interception right to a Vanderbilt linebacker.
With a minute left.
Yeah. Vandy has got a shot to win the game. Field goal kicker misses a 33-yarder. Not good, but it happens. So UNLV takes over, 50 seconds, 55 seconds?
Yep.
In what appears to be a headed to overtime kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And a little that happens.
Yeah, I think it was a 2nd and 10 run or second down run. After that run, UNLV, they were going to just let the clock run out, but a Vanderbilt defensive player, called timeout.
Okay, so earlier today I asked Watson Brown, because my opinion, which doesn't mean doodly squat, is that the only player on the college level that should be calling a timeout would be the quarterback. If you get a play clock that runs down, quarterback says, hey, we were in deep, we called the timeout. In this case, a defensive player for Vandy calls a timeout that clearly his head coach didn't want, because you can see his head coach going to one of the officials saying, who called it? Now, it's one of two things. Either the player did it on his own, or the player did it off instruction from one of his defensive coaches.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, and he did that without the head coach's knowledge, his ass would be fired. He'd be gone. If it were me. I wouldn't put up with that. But anyway, now the coaching staff has a timeout that they don't really want, and I get that. But you need to use it to your best ability. The only way UNLV can win this game in regulation is to get somebody behind Vanderbilt's secondary. So in my way of thinking, you're putting 6 defensive backs in there. If UNLV wants to throw short, let them throw short. If they want to run, let them run. But you're not letting anybody get behind you, which is why I absolutely blew a gasket when this play happened, and I want you to watch it.
It's situational football, guys, is what it is. Yeah, that's crazy right there.
I mean, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, it's situational football that you have to go over. I mean,
the clock is rolling.
It's at 16 seconds.
16 seconds, and a guy gets beat deep. And they have the ball, I think 9 seconds left, and they get ready to kick.
Go back a little bit, Billy, so I can see the beginning of it, because it looks like it's quarters coverage, which means he's got that guy, so you should not let him. I don't know if he thought that he had help over the top. It looks like quarters right now.
Yep.
So he's got that guy virtually man to man, and then it looks like the guy underneath was trying to jump on something coming across. So I don't know.
Yeah, that I just don't get
You
how
can't have it happen. Yeah, you just can't have that. Just can't happen.
Yeah.
Like you can tell the corner, like what is the corner doing? Like he's sitting there looking at the quarterback, and you know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get in field goal range.
Mm-hmm.
They're either trying to get into field goal range with the play that you've seen, or they're simply going to run the clock out and go.
That's what they were going to do originally.
Yeah,
and then
until Vanderbilt called the timeout.
A timeout.
So you got a series of screw ups.
Yeah.
What I'm going to call romper room, because it looks so stupid on so many fronts. And this is what I do know is if I'm Clark Lee, when I get back to town, we're having one hell of a meeting, and this crap better stop, because this team isn't good enough to play romper room and beat anybody. It's not like UNLV is anything to write home about, but this is a game Vanderbilt had to win, should have won, and the mental screw-ups are inexcusable. They just are.
Yeah, because we talked about it the other day. I mean, they need every win that is a win for them so that they can get to the postseason, and that just hurt their chances, George. It really did. I don't. That's just situational football. You got to go over that stuff, especially at the college level. You got to say, hey, you understand where the game is. We can't let these guys get behind them. We need to make them earn it. There's 16 seconds left on the clock. Keep everything in front of us. Let the clock run out.
Okay, so why is he able then run this thing one more time? Because even a dope like me is sitting there saying, "Look,
look at the corner down here. He's looking back at the quarterback when the guy's running full speed at him. You've got to take off running. I mean, it looks like it's quarters, which means each guy in the secondary has quarter of the field. So the corners got from the numbers to the boundaries. Then the safety's got from the numbers to the middle of the field. Then the other safety's got the numbers to the middle of the field, and then the other corner's got the numbers to the sideline. But you can tell right here, down here at the bottom, that the corner's looking at the quarterback. So I don't know what he's thinking, but you just can't have that happen, George.
Go ahead and run it, Billy.
So look at him looking. He's not. You should take off running right now, and that just allows the guy to get behind him. That's just the biggest mistake that you can have in that situation.
Mm. And that's how you lose games.
It is how you lose games.
Mistakes like that, and they just don't really know. They haven't made the winning plays yet this year. You know, Wake Forest, they made every play to lose it. They almost did against Hawaii. Right, they very well could have ended up losing that Hawaii game, but Kelly, they're not making the winning plays.
Well, this is where Clark has got to establish who the boss is, who really is the boss, because a player calling timeout, he's got to find out what gave you that authority. Okay, and if the authority came from a coach on that staff, I'm firing his ass so quick your head would snap, because he's the head coach for a reason. Okay. He's the one that gets some of the glory and some of the salary, and he takes all the crap when you lose. Now, if the player did it on his own, there also has to be a come to Jesus with the player that says, you're not the coach.
I'm like y'all though. I don't know how you do that as a defensive kid. Like I like, especially in college, you don't ever that's the coach's deal. So it makes me really think what you're throwing out there, George, that maybe he was told by one of the defensive guys, hey, we may need a timeout here. I don't know, but it's something where if you've got a timeout, you bring the guys over here and you say, guys, because even in high school, like even in the pros, George, guys forget things sometimes. And if you don't, if you're not talking about situational football all the time, you've got to run through things like that, like the end of the game stuff, like 4-minute drives, like trying to not go out of bounds and run the clock out, or a Hail Mary deal. You've got to go over these things. And even when you go over them, when you get presented in the game with them and you got a situation like that, call a timeout, bring the guys over and say, hey, we cannot let anybody get behind us. Get back, let them complete the ball, let them run it, and get them inbounds and keep the clock running. All right, let's do that. That was just bad football right there.
So it seems to me they're at a crossroads. They're
Could be.
2-2. Where they appear to be somewhat improved, they have gotten themselves a wide receiver core that looks like it's SEC caliber, 2 or 3 deep now, which they haven't always been able to say. Their offensive line can't run block a lick, and that puts them in
a problem.
That puts them in a precarious position when they get into SEC play. And then you start this romper room crap where you just do stupid things. You're not going to win against decent competition. Even UNLV's not a top 50 school in this country. And
Vandy
they never have been.
They lost to their backup quarterback too, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a good picture. Anyway, okay, my rant is over. After the break, we'll get into Alabama and later Colorado, and I'll ask the question on the front end. Has Nick Saban screwed up in the quarterback world? Stay tuned.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
start this segment with breaking news out of East Lansing. Michigan State has began the process of firing Mel Tucker. So they have apparently told Mel Tucker of their intentions, and they have begun that process. So in a statement, they said with the support of the administration and board, they provided Mel Tucker with written notice of intent to terminate his contract for cause. So
wow. The notice provides Tucker with 7 calendar days to respond and present reasons why he should not be terminated for cause. Holy cow.
Let me ask George. Let me ask y'all this with something like that. Now we've heard the allegations. We don't know we don't know all of that stuff. So, I mean, it just seems like kind of sketchy here because they gave Mel Tucker. Didn't they give him like a huge contract?
Yeah,
a year ago.
Million.
He's in the third year of a $95 million deal.
Well, I mean, it seems like sketchy to me because, and I'm not saying anything about this, but the allegations and stuff, but like, does it not seem like, hey, we made a mistake. We got to get this guy out of here. I don't know if that's the case, but good gracious. I mean, I don't know. This stuff is coming out. We said that things are going to come out with all this stuff that's going on nowadays, but we don't know what's going on with the allegations. But man, it just seems like they might have got themselves in trouble with a lot of money, and they're trying to get back that money.
Well, first of all, let me say this, Kelly. We don't know what Michigan State knows. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, on the surface, given that we don't know what Michigan State may know, there does seem to be some he said, she said.
Correct, yes.
Okay? And I would hope that if Michigan State has gone to this point, that they've got some airtight evidence, because if they don't, can you say lawsuit?
Yeah, big lawsuit.
Big lawsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, program in disarray, there's no doubt about it. So now we move on to Alabama. Now, help me with this. Saban announced today that Milroe will be the starter again this Saturday against Ole Miss, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
No Ty Simpson or Buckner. And, of course, we saw both of them.
Okay. So, Kelly, for the first time, I kind of feel like Nick Saban has really screwed one up. And I'll explain where I'm coming from in a minute. What do you think?
I don't know. It just seems like a long way from the quarterbacks that he's had for the last decade with Tua, with Jalen Hurts, with Mac Jones, with Bryce Young, even going back, the Coker guy got him a national championship, Greg McElroy, Blake Sims. Seems like they've always had a capable person there. But this year, I don't know. I do think, I think personally that Jalen Milroe probably gives them the best opportunity to win because I always, just from what you're hearing down there, they were going to try to get back to what he was known for back in the day, like a big offensive line. They can road grade. They're going to be able to run the ball, take time off the clock, kind of squeeze the air out of the ball, and not let these other offenses get on the field. And it just has not been there yet. They can't run the ball at all. They can't protect. The Buckner kid came in. He was awful. I was like, useless. I was shocked how bad he was.
If they're, first of all, am I right that Saban came out today and said Jalen has earned the opportunity to be, based on what? Based on sitting on his butt Saturday down in South Florida?
Well, I guess how he might have performed better against Texas than they did against USF.
So I'm being a little cynical here.
Yes, always.
Bear with me here.
George being cynical?
So Buckner, the kid from Notre Dame, okay, if their belief was that putting Buckner in might motivate Milroe to something better or whatever, because it looked like they were punishing Milroe for the Texas loss. That's what it looked like to me. We're going to start Buckner, and we're going to show old Milroe whatever. Buckner equaled useless.
Bad.
He could have been worse. He was awful. Okay, so then Saban's got to go to a third guy who clearly they haven't thought much of, but sure looks to me to be the best drop back passer that they've got. And that's the kid, Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson from Martin, yeah.
The head coach at UT Martin.
Right.
He makes a couple of throws, one particular seam ball to a tight end that I'm like, damn, he looks better than any of them.
Yeah, he can throw the ball, George. There's no question. I mean, he's the pure drop back guy.
Right.
But I just don't know if that's what fits this team right now. I don't think this team is. They relied too much on Bryce Young last year. They couldn't protect last year. They relied too much on him. Bill O'Brien made chicken salad out of we know what,
Only his greatness pulled their chestnuts out of the fire.
Oh, there's no question about that. But I want to present a question to you guys.
Okay.
So me growing up in a locker room, and my agent used to tell me this all the time. My college coach used to tell me this all the time. But players always know. And it didn't seem like the same old Alabama intensity playing against South Florida the other day. So
you didn't see
you didn't see that. So do you think that the locker room was disgruntled because they feel like they got a better chance to win with Jalen Milroe? And when they put the Buckner guy in and then later Ty Simpson just to win the game, do you think it was kind of a, hey, we're going to show, I just didn't see the intensity. So I'm kind of throwing that out there. Like, players always know who they want and who is the guy for them. And it seems like maybe they're thinking Jalen Milroe.
That's what it looked like.
So
there was some very poor effort on a lot of those plays.
And you don't ever see that in Alabama. Ever.
I
from
would
some
describe
offensive
it
linemen
as listless. Okay.
Correct.
Over on the sideline, you remember the movie Jaws, where at the end the guy throws the stuff into the shark's mouth?
Yeah, the tank, the oxygen tank. Yeah.
Okay. Over on the sideline, it looked like Nick Saban had swallowed that. He looked like you could have fried an egg on him.
Yeah.
And for a winning coach, he didn't exactly look like he was going home to celebrate. He looked furious, okay? Because listless, disinterested, going through the motions, pick one of the three. That's what it looked like against South Florida. I got a chance to watch a lot of that. Then they had the monsoon, the 45-minute monsoon that they always have. By the way, what's Alabama doing playing at South Florida? That shocked me. But
got to play in the Buck Stadium.
Yeah, so they come back, and Ty Simpson is playing. And frankly, he looked better. Well, hell, I'd have looked like, wow. I do wonder if truthfully Ty Simpson is their best. I don't think they're going to have to worry about it because I think he's going to transfer at the end of the year and get the hell out of Dodge. But I think Saban has made this worse because Jalen Milroe is furious. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
He got kind of embarrassed in you're not going to play against South Florida. But all of a sudden, after Buckner poops the bed, all of a sudden, Jalen has earned the opportunity. Really?
I don't know.
Saban.
No, it doesn't. I think he's got himself into a situation right here. But I will like what he said the other day. He said in his press conference, and this, he's obviously been there, done that. He's won 7 national championships, best, arguably maybe the best coach ever in college. But he said that you win so much that people don't expect you to lose, and they think you can't lose a game. Well, that's not true. And especially, and we talked about it last night when you called me, but I think this is where the transfer portal is showing up. And you're about to talk about Dion, but look, he's got a whole totally different team in Colorado that they had last year. And if you listen to him on 60 Minutes, it's happening all over the country, George, where this transfer portal is making people relevant. It's making college teams, some of the some of the Vanderbilt, some of the Troys, the Middle Tennessees, they're getting guys from these big schools that are coming in and helping them. And you can't tell me that when you got a guy transferring from Alabama, that not everybody in the country is going to look on the Alabama roster and see who's going to transfer, and they're going to like, well, Saban liked him, so we need to bring him in. So I know that he lost a lot of guys last year to that transfer portal, but they just the other night just did not look like the Alabama teams that we've always expected out of them. It just looked like they're playing this guy, and we don't really like it, and like whatever.
It sure looked like it.
It looked a lot like that to me.
So here's one for you. Ole Miss is coming to town. Alabama is only a 7-point favorite at home against Ole Miss. You don't think Lane Kiffin wouldn't like to nail a little nail in that coffin? Because let's face it, where they are right now, they're not going to run the table.
No,
now, I may end up
absolutely
being
not.
wrong, and they find whatever. But as of today, it's hard to believe Alabama's going to run the table.
I agree. I don't think that's going to happen. I can see them losing multiple games. It's just going to be interesting to see how they play this week. And are they going to play better? Are they going to play more enthused? Ole Miss is obviously better than South Florida. Their quarterback he's been playing really well. He's a big kid, and they like to run him, which I just don't understand Lane Kiffin with that running stuff. But they've been able to do that with him. And he's been able to complete balls. It's definitely not the Johnny Manziel effect when he was at Texas A&M, but Jackson Dart is kind of a weapon for those guys. He's been playing really well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Alabama comes back, and it's going to be interesting to see how Jalen Milroe plays, because he didn't play good against Texas, but Texas is a different beast this year, and it's going to be neat just to see how all this plays out. George, are we there, or are y'all glitching on me?
Okay, I'm told we're back.
Yeah, we're glitching really bad, Billy. I blame it on you, no question.
Can't blame this on him.
This will improve. We've got room for improvement.
No, but my television went out at the same time, so I can't. It's hard to blame this on Billy. So, Kelly, let's go to Dion for a second. I have never seen, beginning before the game ever started to the bitter end, I have never seen two teams show as much, whatever the word vitriol means.
Yeah.
Holy cow. You ever seen that much stuff?
No, it's and Jay Norvell was the receiver coach for the Indianapolis Colts when I was there, so he had to deal with Marvin and all those guys. So I know Jay well, and that just don't seem like Jay to me. I'm sure he was trying to pump his kids up, and he certainly did, because they played really well, and they got a quarterback that can throw it too. So
yes,
there were two talented quarterbacks in that game the other night, and that's why. I mean, it was 113. I looked at the clock, and it was 113 when it was over. So, but I mean, it's just kind of he's polarized the whole United States. He's got people I got people saying I'm a Colorado Buffalo fan. I'm like,
right.
They've been insignificant for 20 years, like since Bill McCartney was there. Good gracious, they're not very good, and he is what he's done to that place. And now you got the TV. He's on TV every week. He's got some tough games coming up though, especially if he doesn't have his best player in Travis Hunter. But I will say this: his son is a very good football player. I just wish his son would let Dion do the talking and him just go out and play football. Of course, we all talk and we all got our ways of talking. I used to be one of the worst, but just go out and play football. But he is a really good football player, and there's not a lot of guys that can make some of the plays. I mean, they go into the fourth quarter the other day, George, down by 11.
Yes.
And they've got to score at the end of the game, and he's got to make a 2-point conversion. And the 2-point conversion that he made, they brought pressure on him. And there's not many guys that can stand in there and throw the ball and deliver it to his receiver like he did just to tie the game to get it into overtime. So they're really good, and he's going to keep them in games because he doesn't make mistakes. He knows what he's doing. He's very smart about football, and he doesn't take sacks, and he knows what to do with it. And when you've got a guy like that, you can win a lot of games, George.
He is very cool under pressure, and he's got an absolute laser of an arm.
They can throw it, man.
Let me ask this one. My friend Larry Woody, the former Tennessean sports writer, said this earlier today. Is Deion becoming this generation's Muhammad Ali?
Oh, wow. He could, man. He could.
I mean, as far as polarizing, those who love him. And there's a group that hates him that is hoping Oregon just beats the crap out of him next Saturday to shut him up. And there's not much middle ground, which is back in the early 70s, a lot of Ali.
Yeah, he's very polarizing, and I love what he says. Even on the 60-minute interview the other night or last night, he was talking about how everybody's upset at me with the 50 players that left, but he's like, the coaching staff just got fired, and they're the ones that recruited those kids. So if you want to stay, you've got to prove it to me that you can play, or I'm going to get rid of you, which I totally agree with him. I mean, that's the truth. And people nowadays in our culture, in this soft culture that we live in, George, they don't want to hear the truth. And anytime you tell the truth, they always say, well, you're negative. Well, how am I negative just because I told you the truth?
Well, you are.
Well, I'm not. I just tell people the truth. I'm upfront with them. And that's what I love about him, because he makes no bones about it, George. And he's got those kids that are there now. And another good thing that he said is, he said, most of these kids go into these colleges now and they're interviewing the coach. He's like, that's not how we roll here. I'm interviewing you, and I want to know why you love playing. I want to know your why. Why do you love playing college football? Why do you love – we're interviewing them. And he's like, if you don't like what I'm saying and you don't like the verbiage that's coming out, then we probably don't need you here because you're not mentally tough enough to play in our program. I agree with him, and it's obviously working.
So we haven't forgotten the top four for this week. We delayed it a little bit. Now, Kelly, I'll admit, this one's some people are gonna say, ever heard of Florida State?
I have, man. I mean, but
Notre Dame. Ever heard of Ohio State?
We're 3 games into it. 3 games into it.
It's early, but tell me how Florida State came out. Obviously, the close call at BC. And by the way, we're going to get a game this week with Ohio State going to Notre Dame that will sort of, change some things.
Correct. And if Ohio State wins that, they'll probably be in the top 4. They've got a new quarterback. Georgia's got a new quarterback, but the reason I put Georgia there is because they won it. They won it the last 2 years. So until you beat them, they're going to stay number 1. I think Michigan got a really good young quarterback. They can run the football. They can do all those things. Texas needs to be in the top 4 because of what they did in Alabama.
Whoa. You're playing both sides. Florida State.
What's that?
Should be in there. Hey, they won on a neutral site against LSU.
That's true, but they went to Boston College. They didn't play great the other day. They can be beat, and Texas didn't play good the other day.
Wyoming score.
That's true, but then Texas came on at the end. They came on at the end, and then I just decided to put USC in there, man, because I think they're pretty good offensively. I know defensively they kind of struggle, but like I said, it's 3 games into it. I mean, give me a little bit more time, and it'll all hash itself out here. We'll figure it out. And I'm not saying that Florida State don't deserve to be in the top 4 because they may. I just, I decided to put USC in there. So
let me ask this question: Are we down to 7 that can ultimately hold the trophy at the end? The 7 being Georgia, Michigan, Texas, USC, Notre Dame, Florida State, Ohio State. Is there anybody else that really?
Maybe Washington. They've looked really good.
Yeah, Washington's pretty good. They might be in the case because they got Michael Penix, who's playing really well. He can throw the ball all over the place. So he transferred from Indiana, and he's a pretty good player. So he could be in there. So there might be 8, George. But I think you probably hit the nail on the head. And I think after Notre Dame plays Ohio State, you'll have a better picture of what's going on.
I think Penn State potentially. There's a lot. There's probably 8 to 9 teams that feel like they can, when in reality, probably more like 6 to 7 that really can, at least, objectively.
So are we going plaster bet of the day?
You are forgetting studs and duds.
Screw the stud. Well, no, what the heck? Let's do it. We're going to do it.
We can't just skip studs and duds.
Okay, here goes. We're going to start with studs.
Studs.
So this big old... Did you miss one at the beginning?
You had Missouri.
Okay, so this big old guy nailed a 61-yarder to give Missouri the win over Kansas State. What a stud deal. And then he's taking selfies with all the student body.
Yeah.
Number 2, LSU. They just steamrolled down in Starkville.
I saw that one coming.
What was it? 41-7?
41-14.
41-14.
Will Rogers looked like that was his first game ever. I mean, he looked like he was so out of whack at the beginning of the game. He couldn't complete any balls. I mean, when you're playing a team like that, you have to complete passes when you're throwing the ball. And man, he just looked like he was out of his element for some reason.
Here's one you didn't see coming. Florida International.
Oh, wow. Your boy.
Difference in a year's time between what Mike McIntyre inherited and what I saw Saturday, man, he has gone down deep into Florida and gotten himself some players.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive win. 4th stud, got to go Florida Gators.
Gators.
They got it done. So now let's get to the duds, and this won't surprise you at all. Tennessee was a dud. They just simply were in Gainesville. Number 2, Vandy, total dud, and honestly, romper room football, just incredibly stupid things that went on to contribute to that. 3rd one, Oklahoma State got boat raced by South Alabama. They were down 23-0 at the half. What was the final in that game?
It was like 35-7.
Yeah, I think it was 33-7 or something like that. Yeah.
At home to South Alabama.
You talk about bad.
And then it's only going to get worse.
Mark D'Antonio could not save the day.
Yeah.
No.
Another dud.
Way to hop on that, George.
An extra dud. Stanford lost to Sacramento State.
Their old
coach. His old team, Troy Taylor's old team, beat him.
Good Lord. Wow. Okay, so there's studs and duds. We'll go to the break. I don't want to get into plaster bet of the day. The weekend was a disaster. It was awful. How many did I win?
I don't even know.
One.
I think I do.
You don't want to know.
I think you're right. Stay tuned.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Wrapping up today's Reaction Monday show with Plaster's Bet of the Day. And we've got to take a look at the results from this weekend. It's brought to you by Bort Durham Injury Law. Only 2 wins for George.
Out of 7.
Getting closer to 500.
That's about 28%. That's
not your best work.
UConn, not even close. Tennessee, not even close. Vandy, romper room. UAB got boat raced. The Lions don't win at home. What the hell's that about? Against Seattle. God bless Tampa Bay and Miami. Okay, so tonight there are 2 games, but I'm only picking one, and there's the one I'm picking. Okay, now, either I am misjudging some things here, at which case I may have to come back tomorrow and admit that, or we're taking Pittsburgh's performance against San Fran and maybe going a little too far with it. Kenny Pickett's pretty good quarterback. Steelers are at home. Yeah, Cleveland's good. Are they that good? We're going to find out tonight.
And they're playing
it's always been a tough matchup right there with the Browns. It used to be a highly contested rivalry, and the Steelers have dominated that rivalry since the Browns have been back. So go Brownies.
Yeah. Well, and this one's legit. I mean, a lot of times you're just showing bad sportsmanship to root against.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I hate the Steelers. I absolutely hate the Steelers. So
are the Browns good enough to go in there and show them who daddy is?
I don't know about showing them who daddy is, but they can go in. I think they can go in there and beat them. I really do, because the Browns are young and they've got some up and coming guys. They can. They got a guy at quarterback now, and I think they can. They can beat them. I don't know about being their daddy, as you say all the time, but
right.
It's tough anytime Cleveland plays the Steelers. It's always tough. It's just a psychological deal that it's been hard to get over, and they're starting to creep their way out of the basement of it. But yeah, I'm gonna go Browns.
By the way, speaking of the Steelers, anybody heard from Antonio Brown lately?
I have not. I don't know. I wonder what Antonio Brown's doing. I thought about him the other day.
There's no telling what he's doing.
He was one of the best
George,
wide receivers in the league.
Oh, absolutely. George's new word, though, he's gone on and left collusion behind, but it's romper room. Like, where are we getting the romper room stuff from, George?
Because it looked like little kids. It looked like stuff that got thrown out of, you go here. Center snap the ball to the, come on.
Sometimes that wins games, man. I had to do that. I had to draw stuff up in the dirt one time when we were playing TSU, and we came back and beat them.
Yeah, I bet that was good.
Yeah, Coach Donnelly didn't like it, but he liked winning.
No, nor should he. What did he say to you?
I don't remember, man. He probably didn't even know. He just knew that I was. No, I really don't. I don't even think he knew. I was just, the back kept telling me, man, they're leaving me. They're leaving me. Everybody's turning. They're leaving me. And I'm like, hey, just go hook and I'll hit you. And I hit you. And we did it like 5 times in a row and we scored and we won.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
See you tomorrow. See all of you tomorrow. Go Pittsburgh.
Go Browns.